All right. Hello there. This is Sarah Wayne, and I am excited to be live here on YouTube. I am going to be sharing with you a very important topic, and that is your heart is a portal. So I'm going to just do a few things here to get situated and see if anyone's going to hop on live here. Give me just a moment. All right. So what I wanted to do was talk to you about how important your heart is for accessing your higher mind. And what inspired me to do this live was because I had actually just done a few interviews around the heart and how to heal with the heart. And I think it's really important that we understand the potential we have with this incredible resource to access our higher wisdom. And a lot of people are really shut down in the heart. And this is something I experienced deeply for years, was being really shut down in feeling connected and feeling my own emotions. And it had a lot to do with past traumas and how I grew up. And from what I have learned and the clients I've worked with, there's so many people who struggle with feeling their emotions, feeling connected to themselves, and being able to feel connected to their higher wisdom and the aspects of themselves that have profound wisdom and knowledge. And I want to make a distinction here, because when our hearts are shut down, for me to just say, okay, open your heart, expand, and feel the love, feel the light, and all that is actually counterproductive, because we have to first take a few steps back and actually look at how shut down are you in your heart. And there may be some resentment, there may be some trauma, some abuse, or some upsetting relationships that you still haven't fully healed. That is going to affect how open we feel with our heart. But the reason it's so important that we focus on our heart and not our mind is because our mind is very limited. Excuse me. Our mind is very limited in that it's linear, it's from the past, it's programmed with the past, and it's fear-based. But higher mind, which is expanded, it's beyond, your physical head, is accessed when you come into this heart space, this heart portal, as I like to call it. And the first thing that's really essential with activating it is to have some practice to open it up. If especially it's not something you've been practicing regularly, to open up and expand, because the heart energy has the potential to reach out 30 times greater than the mind. So your heart energy is far more powerful. And when it's expanded, you're able to tune in and tap into other higher frequencies. And these higher frequencies are what I call your higher self, higher mind. Let me pull up something here. I made some notes. I just want to make sure I touch on this. So I want to also talk about the connection with the mind and the heart, and that they're electromagnetic. So I see the mind as electrical. It's where you put out energy that is electrical. It's charging, it's powerful. And the heart, where you feel the emotions, you feel the gravity, is magnetic. So you are an electromagnetic being. This is just basic science here. You're electromagnetic. And when the two are working in harmony, when your heart is actually running the show and operating at its full potential, and your mind is listening to your heart, that's when you are at your fullest potential with creating what it is that is in your highest good, in your highest desire. So we have to remember that these two need to work together. We want to sync them up. And there are some practices I'm going to share with you today of going into the heart. But before that, I just want to share with you that, if it's if it feels resistance, if you feel resistance to it, or you feel, like it's not really working for you, that's okay. That's totally okay. And that you just want to think of this as a practice, something you practice regularly. Even with all the work I had done for years, it wasn't actually until, meaning the healing work, I had done so many modalities, so many things to tune into my power, tune into my heart. And it wasn't until I had my daughter about 7 and a half years ago, where I started to realize how shut down my heart really was. It was really uncomfortable and frustrating and kind of scary, actually, to realize that I had so much more healing to do. And it wasn't really as a parent until I became a parent. And maybe some of you have realized that becoming mothers or fathers, that, your children can really show and highlight to you where you need to grow the most. And so that was definitely part of my journey, is learning to connect more consistently and at will with my daughter, with myself. And there's so many practices I developed over the years, and that's why I wanted to share these with you, to give you some practical ways that you can start to expand and open that heart. So one of the ways that helps immediately with moving that energy flow is simply breath work and breathing into your heart space. And I like to take a few deep controlled breaths. So you could do this with me now. You're just going to take your awareness. You can close your eyes. Sometimes it helps to close your eyes so you can go more internal. And then you might notice that your energy's up in your head. And I invite you to take an elevator ride down your spine into the back of your chest where your heart space is. Maybe you want to put your hand here just to bring your awareness there. And then you're just going to begin to take 3 deep breaths, breathing in for the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Holding it for just a moment, letting that breath just circulate. And then exhaling fully and completely for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Doing it again, breathing in. Holding it up top. And then exhaling. One more time. Holding it at the top and then exhaling slowly, twice the count out. Beautiful. So that's just a really important first step to being connected there. Now, some other practices that I find really helpful for dropping into the heart, and I'm going to bring this out here, is sound frequency. And if you're familiar with tuning forks, so the environment around you affects your electromagnetism. There's all kinds of energies going on around you, from cell phone, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, just the chargers that are around, and the telephone poles, right? We're surrounded in this soup of energy. Some of it is helpful, some of it is harmful. And everybody is different. Every body is different. So we have different degrees of sensitivities. And some people are going to be really sensitive to these more harmful energies and feel them and feel actual symptoms from them. And some people aren't going to notice them. Maybe you don't really notice it so much. Or maybe you do have symptoms, but you just don't even associate it. You just think, oh, I'm just tired, or I just have a little headache. But you don't realize that that's actually your body trying to adjust from all these degrading type of frequencies. So I like to use sound healing as a tool to create a more optimal frequency around you. And there's different ways you can do this. You can play instruments. that'll make certain frequencies, but you want to make sure they're tuned to appropriate frequencies. So the other ways I like to do this is with binaural beats. I listen to the sounds in headphones with different frequencies, different solfeggio frequencies. Or you can get a tuning fork or tuning forks that are of certain frequencies to create a certain atmosphere and certain tuning to your body. So I have with me right now a tuning fork. This is a 174 hertz tuning fork. And I also have, I'm going to bring out this other one. Where did it go? Another one that is a little smaller, but it's a higher frequency, and it's 528 hertz, which really resonates with the heart. I like both of these frequencies because this 174 frequency creates a tone that is just very evening out. It's very soothing and just kind of sloughs off some of the frequencies that aren't really supportive to your body. So this is tuned to a frequency that actually promotes healing. And what you do is, well, I'll do this for you now so you can actually experience it, so you can feel the frequency through the audio here and the video. I'm going to do this now. You might want to take a deep breath as you just relax into that sound. I'm going to do it another time. And you can just brush this over your body if you have one. Just kind of smooth it out. And if you don't, that's fine too. Just by listening, you're actually getting some benefits from that. And then next, I'm going to play or resonate the 528 frequency. This is DNA repair. This is where you get into a much deeper level of really supporting the resonance of your heart space. And as you're listening, just breathing into your heart with your hand on your heart. Okay, so now that we've harmonized our heart frequency a bit more, I want you to notice the places where you're blocking the flow. So when you're able to connect to your heart at will, you will start to notice more of what's off. What do you need? What's the truth for you in the situation? So I want to teach you how to use the practice when you're in a situation that feels stressful or feels overwhelming, or you feel dysregulation, or like you just you want to respond in a way that might not give you the best interaction with someone. A technique that has helped me profoundly is to actually activate my heart by taking these fingers, your two fingers here, pointer and middle, and just placing it right in the heart space, right kind of, in that cavity of your chest bone, and actually pressing it firmly, not to the point where you're hurting yourself, but just enough where it's like a little pressure. And you just breathe And there's a point here that actually starts to get the flow moving better in your lymph and in your heart. And so there's a slight calming effect, and also an effect that gets the energy from being blocked up in your head. Because when you're angry or when you're frustrated, this energy flow isn't happening. And so it gets all frenetic up in the head area and actually blocks it from getting out into your limbs and your legs. And so before responding to anything going on, taking a moment to just connect, press in here, and listen. How often do you listen to the space that's within your heart? And if you don't hear anything, that's okay too. It's a practice of giving yourself the space to listen. And sometimes a question prompt can also help by simply asking, what does my heart have to say? What does my heart want? What does your heart have to say? What does your heart want? And write that down. Write down whatever comes through. You want to give this part of you a bit bigger voice and be the space that you drop into more often than your head. I mentioned some breath work as well, breathing into that space. It's also very helpful to ground and place your feet on the ground. No shoes, just on the actual earth, on the dirt, on the grass. This will actually help to regulate your nervous system and regulate your physical health. So you can slow down, because the frequency of the earth, the Schumann resonance, if you've heard of this, the Schumann resonance is the frequency that the earth vibrates at. It's very slow. In our world, we're really fast. We have a lot going on, right? There's a lot you want to do. You're like, okay, come on, Sarah, speed up. Tell me what I need to know. But the real wisdom comes when you slow your breath, slow your thinking, and slow your awareness into those little spacious moments where you're not rushed. You don't need to move quickly. If you allow yourself to drop into those spaciousness moments, you will get better at life. You will get better at being efficient and effective in the days and the times where you are doing more. That's how powerful being in this heart portal is. It shows you what you need to know. It shows you what you need to become more conscious of. And then the other piece that I want to share about activating your heart and becoming more in tune with it is invocations and using actual activations. This is something I do a lot with my clients. I give them personalized activations to work with their own energy system, their own design. So you might want to play with what I give you and maybe make it your own or change it up a little bit based on how you resonate, because we're all going to have our own different ways where certain words or certain ways of tuning in work better. But an invocation essentially is creating the statement of I invoke, and then an emotional power. So I invoke the power of my heart to, and then whatever is important to you, whatever is resonating with you right now. So it could be something like, I invoke the power of my heart to have more awareness around my career. I invoke the power of my heart to become more compassionate with my child. You create that statement based on what it is you want the outcome to be. So, what are you looking to have more awareness around. Invoke the power of your heart to gift that to you. And then allow for some space for what is meant to come through. Don't always expect the answer to just drop in. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes it's really crisp and clear and you're like, oh yeah, totally clear. Got it. That's how intuition can work. But sometimes it's like a little seed and you're planting it. And then over time, it starts to become more clear, a little more aware. You see the next step. So just play with how it shows up for you. And overall, the biggest intention I have for you is to use this awareness of just how freaking amazing and powerful you are in this heart space when it's open and expanded, and just how good life can get when you make that a priority and a practice for yourself. So I want to ask you, leave something in the comments with how is this resonating with you? Do you have a practice where you focus on your heart and expand it, or is this new to you? I'd love to know what's, piquing your interest here. If you have more questions, if you want me to go deeper into something else around this topic, I'd love to interact with you. I'd love to communicate with you. I love reading your comments. So I'm going to wrap this up now in the next few moments. I just want to check in and see if there's anything else I want to share with you here. Yes. So here's something I think that's really important to talk about, because there's this conception that this idea that if you open your heart and expand your heart, it's like, oh, everything feels so good and so much more loving. And, it's like this peaceful, blissful state. When in actuality, when you make the intention to open up your heart, you are going to start to be even more aware of all the places you block the flow of love and you block your heart and where you've blocked your heart. So there may be, I don't even want to say maybe, there most likely will be a period of mourning, a period of sadness and discomfort and realization of, wow, I've really cut myself off here. Wow, I really got to look at this stuff in my life and my patterns and my habits. And if that comes up for you, I would love to support you and helping you through that. That's what I do. That's my greatest gift. And so I'll share a link with you. You can schedule a clarity call with me. This is something I offer to people to get clear about the blockages in their body, the blockages in their mind. And so we can laser in on where that might be stopping you at a very critical experience in your life, and how to move through that in a very graceful way. So feel free to reach out and ask me questions, but just know that sometimes this heart opening journey isn't at all like just bliss and perfection and easier and easier. It actually will take you sometimes down into some pretty dark places because of that intention. But when you are equipped with the right tools and the techniques for how to activate and how to tune in and how to recalibrate, it's actually a much smoother ride into the space of a more open heart. Then allowing yourself to glean the wisdom of your higher self, where you actually have the ability to know, see, perceive all that is. It's such an amazing space to be in. And I invite you to explore. All right, I'm going to end this one for now, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great rest of your day.